Well, my career pretty much chose me. I was raised in an old order Mennonite environment, which is a real stretch for most people who know me. But you know, I was raised, you know, to take care of your neighbors, to take care of our family, and being in public service, I think, positions us to do the most good for the most people, and I love doing that. I'm a township trustee in my township, which means I get to help all of my neighbors, and I just happen to have a lot more neighbors than most people do. In County Planning Commission, I serve as the president. I've been with County Planning for 18, 19 years, and I've been president probably half of those years. And you know, it's helping people through that development process and making sure that there's a balance, that the neighborhoods aren't negatively impacted and so on and so forth. So you get to do a lot of good. Leave it better than you found it. I grew up with that. You know, I heard that every day, leave it better than you found it. And it didn't matter whether it was the kitchen floor, a book that I borrowed, leave it better than you found it. And it's really easy to do. You know, especially in public service. I have so much opportunity to do things, not things that I have to do because they're my job, but things that I'm able to do because I know that there are needs. You know, in my own community, I know who all of my folks are that are older and live by themselves, and I have a visitation route that I do. You know, I learned that in church when I was growing up, but it works really well in my community as well. I'm involved in all of the churches in my community, even though I'm not a member of any of those, because that's where the needs are. And leaving it better than you found it, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you try something and it doesn't happen. The best part of my job, being a township trustee, and the worst part of my job are exactly the same thing. Sometimes I'll get a call and they'll want me to do something and there's nothing that I can do about it as a trustee, and that bothers me. But sometimes we find a way to do it anyway, and that's a good thing. So you know, you just try to get things done. And if you fail once in a while, that's going to happen. But if you're not trying to get things done, you're not doing anything. You know, I work hard. I work really hard. I put in long hours. I'll pull an all-nighter if I need to, and I do that often. But I have ice cream. Ice cream, Handel's ice cream. It's not just any ice cream, it's Handel's ice cream. And anything chocolate that's Handel's ice cream is really the best stuff. And actually, it's ice cream for most people. For me, it's just a bulge looking for a thigh to land on. But when you get to be my age and you work as hard as I do, you deserve that. So that's my indulgence, and then you got to follow that up with Spanx. So.
I feel that my mother inspired me to be who I am. She was a wonderful lady that did everything. And when times became rough for her and she had a stroke at an early age, she didn't let that bother her. She just continued doing things and just kept going. And even though her one side of her body was paralyzed, she continued to cook and she would wallpaper. She taught herself how to crochet with one hand. She just never gave up. She just continued going forth and doing things, and she never complained. She was a wonderful lady. When times get tough for me, I just have to sit down and take a little bit of time and pray to God and ask for His help and for His strength to help me through my difficult times. And He's always been there to help me. Three things I would want on an island with me would be a friend and matches so that I could start a fire to cook and to keep warm with if I needed heat, and probably a first aid kit so that I could stay healthy if I had a cut or something happened. I would want a first aid kit.
I think really my inspiration, I draw a lot of it from my parents. They instilled strong moral values and a strong work ethic in me that I really carry with me throughout my life. Particularly my father, he was an entrepreneur, and he always taught me not to give up, to that hard work pays off eventually, and that there's always another way to find an answer to a problem or to a challenge. He also said that when it comes to making a decision, just don't sit around and be stagnant. Make a decision, even if it's the wrong one. You're at least taking action. He was particularly fond of military heroes, and I think he lived his own life by George Patton's credo, who said, "Lead me, follow me, or get out of my way." I came into my career very early on. I was matched up in a search for an internship with something that matched my skills and abilities, and I landed in the field of economic development, which really has suited me perfectly. It allows me to be creative. I love being able to solve problems and overcome challenges. I love to be able to do research and help find the answer. I'm very persistent, and I think in the economic development field I'm able to use all of those skills. I love the feeling of being able to go home at the end of the day and know that I've made a difference in someone's life, that because of my work people are finding jobs and they're able to support and sustain their families. It's a great feeling. Well, if I were on a desert island, my first choice is probably my three co-workers, Annie, Maria, and Jody. But if it were just me, then I would have to say the three things that I would want with me would be a survival guidebook, of course that had instructions for all sorts of things, but particularly in how to start a fire. A Rambo-style knife, because you can always use one of those to cut down your coconuts, I guess. And finally, I would have a satellite phone with self-charging batteries.
The three things that have contributed most to my success is family, family, family. My parents challenged me. They made me aware that I wanted to have my own destiny, be in control of it. My husband and kids are fantastic. They're supportive and they're understanding. I work long hours and they're great. And then my Critchfield family is my third family. And they help you develop professionally, but there's also a personal interest. All our folks are around for years, and so you get to know everybody, and so family is really important. The advice I'd give to emerging women leaders is to be authentic and to know the tools in your toolbox. Clients, contacts, colleagues will know whether you're genuine, and that will help build trust with them. Tools in your toolbox are something you'll use throughout your career, and everyone has different tools. It might be a great sense of humor or great negotiation skills. You need to hone those so that people will respect you. My secret indulgence is a grape, yes, grape, milkshake from Handel's. I grew up with them as a kid in Youngstown. There's nothing real about them, artificially flavored, but they're fantastic.
I didn't start out in the library world first. I started as advertising, and I was a journalism major in college and majored in English. So I worked for a small advertising agency in the Flats in downtown Cleveland. And then when the agency disbanded, it was really the perfect time for me because that's when I started with my family. And I volunteered at the library in Hinckley, first helping out with the programs for when my kids attended and volunteering for the Friends. But then when I became a single mom, I think I was forced to choose another career. So my love of reading and books and being at the library has kind of always been my second home. So I got a part-time job at the library, went back to school, got my master's degree, and couldn't have made a better choice. Very happy in my position. First, I like to tell all the emerging leaders that stand out in the crowd. Don't get lost in the crowd at work. Make it known that you want to be a leader, you want to accept more responsibility, maybe volunteer for projects, be on committees. If they offer training opportunities, grab them, show an interest. And if there's a mentor at your workplace, by all means, use their advice, seek them out, and get some professional opinion about what you should be doing. And don't be afraid to be innovative. Show your bosses you can have great ideas, and maybe take a risk or two. If If I was on a deserted island, I'd make sure I had lots of sunblock, a huge unending supply of iced tea, and because I'm a librarian, I would have a very, 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 very long book to read.
I would say that at every turn and every opportunity, I see ways that I can make a difference, as an individual in my town. And about 15 years ago, my family moved from California to Medina, Ohio. And during that time, I felt a gravitational pull to go ahead and get to know my town when we moved in and to get involved. And it came at different aspects during different times. When I was at my children's school, at the church where we worship, during activities that are available in this town, and with customers, as a business owner. I am so proud to live in a community that is constantly evolving, and yet it is very true to its core values. The advice that I would give other emerging women leaders is to find ways to be all-inclusive with fellow women, to go ahead and push aside competition, jealousy, and find ways to bring the best out in other women. We're a sisterhood, and I think we have a responsibility to be good role models and to help empower each other, and especially the younger generation. Well, if I was on a deserted island, besides the obvious, I would have to have chocolate because that is my comfort food. And then I would also want to be surrounded by books because I would want to read and keep my mind going. And the third one would be my dog, a chocolate lab. Chocolate, get it?
What I really think is important is lifelong learning. I think that we're never in a position in our lives where there isn't something new that we can learn, and I think we should be open to that. And I think it's of great benefit to women who want to move ahead in the world and make their name in the world, that learning as much about what you're trying to do and learning new things is just truly, truly important. Well, the very first thing is I think that it's important to be your own person, to be true to yourself, not to let other people define who you are, to be comfortable with who you are and accept who you are and build on who you are. And I also think that it's important to understand change. We've lived in a world that has had monumental change in the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And I think looking at change as an opportunity, as a way of improving what you are as a person, what you're doing, what your organization is, that is just key. And I think embracing change is so important to being effective and being successful. I could not live without books. I'm an avid reader. I read all the time. I love reading for pleasure as well as for knowledge. And I just can't imagine a life without books. Real books, not just books on my iPad. I like to feel a book in my hands, and could never really do without reading.
I love words of wisdom and cliches, whether they're in small books or in greeting cards. And one piece of advice that I've kept in my wallet since high school is the definition of success by Barbara Anderson Stanley. And her words are, to laugh often and much, to win the respect of honest critics and the affection of children, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a little better place, whether by a garden patch or a healthy child, to know that one person's life has been made easier because you have lived. That is to have succeeded. And to me, that sums up really the definition of a successful life. My words of wisdom to any young emerging leader is perseverance. Stay the course, don't ever give up. Follow your true heart, because your true heart and your passion are going to be what allows you to succeed in your life, no matter what path you follow. The one thing I could not live without is my faith. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. My faith carries me through the good days in thanking for all the blessings that I have, and it carries me through the bad days when you need strength to get through the issues you're facing that day. There is hope, faith, and love, and obviously my faith.
My grandmother is the one who had inspired me to be the woman that I am today. At a very young age, they were all entrepreneurs in my family, and at a very young age, she had me walk with her and work with her and also help people. So she went to the communities that she served, and she taught me that every day I should be thankful and grateful, and for whatever I had, I needed to give. And so that's exactly what I've done. That has been my motto, has been to inspire and to teach, be a mentor, to help the women especially to be more than what they are, and for today and for tomorrow. If there was anything I could say to women in general and for those leaders, is to never, never give up. Every opportunity, every door shows a beautiful light that can make the difference in their world and in the world of their loved ones, the community that they serve. They are beautiful, and not to give anyone else the power that they already have. Keep it, move it in the direction that you need, and you will find that you will be more than you ever dreamed of. I think the one thing that I'd like people to know is that I'm a singer. Singer brings happiness, and I love happy, 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 happy. And the more you sing, the more you tend to change the world around you. And I have sung all over the world. I have loved it, and I would love to do that again, I think.
My grandfather inspired me throughout my whole life, and I just feel very blessed. I had a very rough childhood, and things could have been really bad, and I could have became a product of my environment. And I just am so forever grateful that I had my grandfather. I miss you, Grandpa. My favorite words to live by are failure is never an option. I have learned over making many, many, many mistakes that you just keep forging ahead, pull yourself up by your big girl panties, and keep on keeping on. If I were on a deserted island, I would like to have, I'm thinking survival type things, so it would probably be matches, water, and it's a toss-up between a cute pair of shoes or something like a creative way to eat. So I think I probably wouldn't survive anyway, so I'll probably go with a cute pair of shoes.
Well, I think that I was given a gift of an innate compassion and caring nature. I think I got that from my grandparents, my parents, and I think that that just kind of carried me through till I decided that I was going to become a nurse, and that's really helped me. But there's always mentors along the way, but I have to tell you that a lot of those mentors have actually been my patients and their families. And I think we have no idea until you've gone through it yourself how challenging it can be to be in a chronic or terminal illness. And I think I've learned from those, and I've learned how to care and be the kind of person that I am today. Well, I think that what I can say is I'm sort of like at the pinnacle of my career right now, getting ready to retire, and I look to a lot of young people to say, stay true to yourself. And you get really bombarded with a lot of external things that kind of disallow you to remain compassionate and caring and looking at the people that you're mentoring and helping them along the way without being too judgmental and being just compassionate to those who are doing the basis for what we do in life. And if you don't have a good base of support, you'll kind of tumble at the top. Well, I had a real tough time with that one, although I liked that. I would probably always have to say I just need that extra fourth person, because I would need my husband and my 3 sons, because we're part of a group. Okay, thank you.
As far as someone or something that inspires me, it's got to be my mom. She's fantastic. She is a terrific parent, and beyond that, she has taught me about how to have a fantastic work ethic, how to give more than you expect to receive, and she's just an all-around awesome individual. So mom's the best. My advice to emerging women leaders would include finding a mentor, finding someone that can answer the questions that you have moving into your role, but also remembering to give a hand back and helping up those women that are starting, young professionals that are starting down the road of their career. Many times I find that women aren't as reticent to give that time, and men have been trained to be mentors for young men, and I really think we need to start looking at the younger generation and offering a hand up. So that's my advice, is look forward, look for your mentor, but also be ready to take on a mentee and offer that sage advice when you're ready. Two things that I would tell people about me are I love glitter. Glitter is basically my Prozac. I could toss it everywhere and it makes me very happy. And then I'm a nerd. I love Star Trek, Star Wars, Game of Thrones, mythological anything, dragons, yep, I'm all in. So I love to argue about who shot first, Han or Greedo, and I revel in my nerdiness.